Have you ever wondered what games you should keep or you should lose? Find out here at Purge Reviews.
I am going to teach you how to play Jukebox because I don't think that the rules are very good. So you're going to put out a 3x3 grid of vinyls and then shuffle the rest. All of these temporary tokens will just be placed beside the board and players will be able to go through those when they need to. Then you'll take randomly 2 of each one, so each of the people's, A being each of the decades, and those will be randomly set aside over there. You will shuffle up the scoring cards, and everybody will get 2 of these, and you'll score 1 of these at the end of the game. I'll show you how to score these later, but no, you'll have 2. You don't have to discard 1. You'll keep these, and you can decide which ones you want to play at the end. Everybody will get 1 of each of the starting tokens and put it into their bag. The red ones are kind of set aside for now. You won't need those for a few minutes, and really once you have your board kind of set up like this, you are ready to start playing. So on your turn, you have 2 options that you can do. I'm going to go over the first one first. It's called spending coins. You will draw a token from your bag, and you can put it on either row that you want. You can stop at any time or continue to go based on whatever your strategies may be, and you can keep going as you go. You can use either one that you want, but you're always going to press it all the way to the left. If something comes out you absolutely do not want, you can put it here on the next play, and it just will not fill up one of your rows, but you can only place 1 of those there. If you have something like this, and you cover up a diamond, that's okay. That just means your opponent will draw 1 from the bag and add a coin to their intake right here. And you have another one. If you have one that matches, you can simply place it on top if you want to. And you can continue to go until you are ready to stop. Once again, if I fill up a diamond, they will be able to go. So let's say I want to stop here. The one that you put in your next play will go back into your bag, and then you can take a choice. First choice you have now is to do nothing. End your turn, and the next player will go. The second thing you can do is you can simply choose to spend these coins that you have. It doesn't matter which row that you spend from. So I have this rocker, I have a 50s and an A. So I could, in theory, I could purchase this if this is what I wanted to do for my strategy. So I would simply take this person, the 50s, and only the top A, and I can put them anywhere that I want in my jukebox. It doesn't really matter with the first one because I can always move my jukebox around as long as I'm not moving the relation to this. So if I had like these here, I couldn't move this later. It would have to stay here, but I can move my jukebox around to indicate it was there. Now this will become trickier if I was to have something like maybe like this and this. Now I can no longer move my jukebox around because they have to stay in the same relation. There's a little bit of a rule to that. So once I have this here, that is fine. These have gone down in my coin box down here. Now, any coins that, like say there were spots here, these would shift down and to fill in any empty spaces. In our scenario, that didn't happen, but pretending like maybe I use these, it would just simply shift down. At that point, the end of turn would occur because I took that action. So let's say I did not spend these coins, and let's go back up here. Oh, if I spent a coin, a new one would simply come out to take its spot. The second possible B action I would have, instead of spending coins, I could simply get rid of a row. Now, there's nothing for me to buy, so I'm going to get rid of these, only getting rid of the top one there, and they would come down into my coin box. Now, I probably wouldn't have done that with that scenario because I have enough there in order to get something. But let's create a scenario where I do not. Let's say I drew something like this where I'm not going to be able to buy anything with this. The reason why is you're always going to need an A and B. You're always going to need a decade and an icon. Well, I don't have any of that here. I have 2 decades and 2 icons. I'm never going to get to 3 that I need. So maybe what I would do, instead of spending the coins to purchase, I would just put these down into my coin box, opening up this space for me. When I do that, I can choose any one of these available gold ones. These are temporary ones, but they're kind of nice because they give you 2 different icons. They're going to give you an icon of the musician and a decade, and I would be able to put 2 of these from this pile. I can choose whatever I want into my bag. These will go immediately into my bag, not into my coin box. When these are drawn, they're nice because they can count as both. So I would only need to have, if I wanted to get this guy in the 60s, an A or B kind of limits more powerful options here that it can count as 2. It could also count as just 1. So if I wanted to get this guy, let's say I had something here and I was able to put him here, even though this says 60s on it, I could use this 50 and this A to grab that tile, this tile here. Even though it says 60, I'm only using one of the icons. Or if I had a B, I could use it to grab this one because it already had the 60. So those can be very powerful. But when they are used, they go back into the pool, not back into your bag. They're a one-time use. But when I do the coin box auction, I would be able to get 2 of these and put them directly into my bag. So whenever you insert coins, so say I spent that, these would move down. So anytime you insert coins, you would have the option of spending them to get a vinyl record. I can take a full row and put them down here. Or I could do nothing. If I spend one of these, I would get one of these gold tokens. If I do both, then I would get 2 of these. The second possible action that I have, so the first one was to insert coins and decide if I want to spend, exhaust a row, or do nothing, is I can take whatever is in the coin box here, take them out of the coin box, and put them back into my bag. And that's the main way you're going to get coins back into your bag. When I do that, once again, I can choose 2 of these to add to my bag, any 2 that I want. Remember, when I'm getting rid of one of these rows, it's 1 per row that I exhaust. But if I take the coin back into my bag, I would always get 2 into my bag. When I do that, my opponent can take 1 coin from their coin box and put it back into their bag. So those are the 2 possible actions. Let's just say I have a scenario where I have 3 of these vinyl records in there. I'm going to show you how to score now. Once I have 3 and I'm placing the 3rd one down, I can take one of these as long as I meet the criteria with the 3 that I just put down. So in this case, I could grab this because it has 3 of those guys in it, and that would score me 10 points at the end of the game, and I would set that there. Look, you can have up to 6 of these. Instead of choosing that one if I wanted to, I could have chose this one for 5 points because it has 2 A's. Now, I probably wouldn't do that. I'd probably grab the 10-pointer, but it is definitely possible. If I didn't want to take that one, this has 1B in it, I could have taken the 1B. Now, even though I met 3 of those requirements, I could only take 1 of them. I cannot take all 3 of them, and once I take it, it's not available to the next person. Now, as the game continues, let's say I would have had a scenario like this. Let me go back here, and let's say I had this, and I placed this one down. So I had it like this, and I played this one down to be perfect. Great. I have connected 2 rows, and 1 row and 1 column, right? So I would score this one first just because I chose to, and I would take the 3 of these. Now, then I can get 1 of these for this row that I also connected. So I could get to 2 Bs. The 2 Bs is not out there. I got a 1 or a 3 option. I could get the 1A, but it's not out there. I do have the 2 60s. So I could score 6 points, or the 140. So this is worth more points, so maybe I would go ahead and snag that also. In our scenario where you have 3 of these that are set, and you're able to score those, then your opponent would get this chip to put into their bag because it matches what you scored. I ended up scoring these icons. They would be able to add this into their bag. Now, the rules are not clear on whether this is temporary or permanent. We play that this is a permanent chip that goes into your bag, and when you spend it, you get it back. The rules are unclear about what you would do with this chip, but that's how we decided to play it. At the end of the game, you're going to score for all these tiles that you've been able to obtain. Then you will take a look at your scoring cards that you got. And this will score you points. So if I had one of these guys in this relation in the board, I would score 2, 4. If I had all 3, I would score 9. So let me show you that. So if I had 1 there, and let's just say I had 1 here, and I had any one with that icon there, I would score all 9 points. If I only had 2 of them, then I would score 4 points. Now remember, it's not the only tiles you're going to have. Your board's going to be full of vinyls, but I was able to meet that criteria there, so I would score those points. Then if you look down here, I would score 1 point for every 60 or A's. So look, so this one has 60 an A, this one has an A, and this one has an A. That one has an A. So I would get 1 point if it just has an A. 1 point if it has 60. But this one here that has 60s and an A, then I would score the 3 points for that one. So in that case, I would score 3. This doesn't have 60 or A. No 60 or A. Has an A, so that would be 4. No 60 or A. Has an A, so that would be 5. And this one has an A and no 60 for 6 points. So of course, 6 points plus my 10 is 16, plus another 6 would be 22. So if that was my final score, I would score 22 points. I can only score one of these. I choose whichever one I think will score me more points, and I can score it. The other one would not be scored. And that's really how you play Vinyl Jukebox. Let me know if you have any questions. I know this game really well. The rules are not very good. I'd be happy to answer any of those that are.